All right. So, Cody, do you remember that time we were hanging out at your house? You were asking me to move some stuff, and you decided to play games with me, throwing grapefruits at me, just trying to see who's who's the more capable person here, or however you wanted to instigate. I don't know, it's like 10 years ago, 12
I,
years ago.
I remember this, but it is very vivid for some reason, like an odd dream. Not sure about it
Oh,
though.
it's not odd. It's not a dream. So I remember you chucked this half rotten grapefruit at me, and I go and I dodge it because actually I didn't really dodge. I just sat there, and you just missed, and you just giggled and laughed, and you bolted around the corner of your house. I
Hmm.
grabbed this beautiful boy. The side that I grabbed completely clean. The other half, you just see it's just rotten and gross. I'm like, this is perfect. I run to the side of the building to come get ready to chuck this thing at you, and you're just already around the back of the building. So I run to the back of the house yard where I see you just start booking it into the woods. I just yeet. It just piles through the air and just goes right in the back of the head, straight on down. That was a long time ago.
It was just a
I
little
mean,
while ago. Yeah, no, only 5 years ago.
um, no, it's way more than 5 years ago. 5 years ago was 2019. You were in the army.
Yeah,
You weren't around.
I was in service at that point. Yeah,
Yeah,
that
well,
was wow.
yeah, and it's been a big thing in in the relationship we have as friends. But do you know what's been pretty much bigger than that? How the rules committee and Wizards of the Coast and how the world has been taking this last set of bans. The
Very,
Mox,
very
not the
much
Mox, Mana
so.
Crypt, the Jeweled Lotus, the Dockside, and Nadu is like, are you guys serious?
Nadu
You
was
just
fine.
oh, we all expected Nadu. Nadu took over Modern, like a whole
Nadu
Pro
took
Tour. It
over
was like,
everything.
dude, it was like Hogak all over again
Yeah.
in Modern Horizons 2.
Yep.
There's also the same thing with like Esper Sentinel's still around. It's still a powerhouse card, but like that's not a card that's worth banning. Unlike Nadu and Hogak, where you just
You play
get
him and
absurd great amounts of stuff
yeah.
and just take over. But that was just modern. But in Commander, Nadu was taking over all tables, regular casual tables and competitive tables. You could see it regularly top 16ing in competitive games.
At the game store up north that I played at, it definitely took over everything for a good minute.
Well, yeah, how are you supposed to take care of it? Like the things that I saw to take care of Nadu were smoke bomb.
Hmm.
Um, that just gives everything shroud. That's like the janky way of taking care of it. I mean, you got dress down, you have Ixidron just turning everything not into having no creature types or no capabilities. I mean, yeah, you can target Nadu with like unable to scream, or you can make it a businessman
Yeah.
with the legitimate business person 1/1. It's a blue enchantment.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that one you can just turn them into that. I mean, they still get the one trigger, but then they have to figure out getting Nadu back. That ban was, I think, justified for how much it took over. But the other three, Dockside, Mana Crypt, and Jeweled Lotus,
The
like
other three are what
so
are annoying the community mostly.
it's annoying is an understatement. So outside of competitive commander, I what part I agree with them is that when any one of those three popped up, it really turned the table for that individual who was playing it. I mean, yes, there are ways to get around it, but most casual
I
games, I'm by most, I
actually
mean like 90%,
I
could
disagree
not
with
take care of
you,
it.
kind of.
On the casual games,
Yeah,
you're not as much of a casual player as I am. That's
true, but what
You've
I
played more power games than casual games. At my casual tables, when anyone at the table gets a mana crypt, it's worse than a soul ring because they automatically just turn one something absolutely phenomenal for them and they just go get ahead so far. And most times, like my friend Yidris, he just got so absurd in his four color deck it was hard to keep up with him. Now,
Well,
like
I
there are
don't
some decks I
disagree
can
with
see.
that. I disagree with all three of them needing the bans.
Oh, at once, I absolutely agree. All three of them in one go, bro. That's rude.
Dockside 100% deserved it because every time Dockside goes down, it's renewable,
And
constant bullshit.
uh, infinite mana, infinite ETB, infinite LTB, because you're doing something with it. You're blinking it with MEL.
Yeah.
You're sacrificing it to something and bringing it back a bunch of times with
The
graveyard
other
decks. I know
two,
that's my favorite use of it.
the other two aren't an auto put into every deck. If you play red in any of your EDH decks, it was automatically if you don't have a Dockside, you aren't doing it right. Jeweled
Correct. Like
Lotus,
I've
if you had one, you put it in, but you didn't
for
seek it
casual
out.
games, absolutely. Well,
You didn't.
like in competitive EDH,
Basically
you
where I just
just
came
you
from.
had all of it in.
Well, that's because you
Outside
had
of
to seek it
competitive,
out.
well, yeah, in
That's what I'm
competitive
saying.
games,
Like
those are
your casual formats, Jeweled Lotus, if you pulled one from a pack, you were a boss and you put it in whatever your cool deck was.
that's what I did. Literally what I did. I pulled a Jeweled Lotus and I'm like, I'm gonna put this in a Tolly
I'm pretty sure his
because
mom's
I
card.
really wanted an
Mom's card to
Atali
take
out
over.
as fast as possible, swinging. I didn't. This was before the ETB Atali, the new one, Primal
Yeah.
Conqueror. I was talking about Primal Storm. I
Because
just
he was
wanted to
originally supposed to
boom,
pick the one,
haste,
I
swing.
guess.
You know,
But
get a
technically,
bunch of
Mom
free
was
stuff,
talking to me
maybe.
about it this morning.
But
I,
like,
yeah.
there were times where it's either I did everything that game, like literally, I had Mana Crypt and Jewel Lotus in that deck. I did everything. I put him out. I put him out turn one. I never got the turn one with haste, even though it was part of the deck. But it just RNG said I didn't get that. But I've gotten a turn one Atali. I've gotten that turn two swing, just turn sideways and have the mana.
I don't like
Oh yeah, and it was
It happened
always
against you.
terrifying
I
when it
love
happened, but
coconut,
it
but
was
I hate
also
coconut milk and coconut water.
very
Okay,
like you sought that out specifically for that deck type. I don't see
Never
a
drink
reason for
coconut
Jeweled
water.
Lotus
It
to be
is the
banned.
worst.
Mana Crypts, eh. Dockside, yes. 100% agree with it. Get rid of the little monkey.
I can yes, but no. The dock side, yes, because you get way too many treasures and you get way too much ability to catch back up in the game, or because all of your opponents had one, two, or three treasures out, you just get a bunch of stuff and you're now so far ahead. It was just it's
And most,
made red the number one color of Commander, whether
yeah.
in casual or non-casual. Because out of all of the cards that were banned, Nadu, Commander, and all, but the Dockside was you had to play red because of it. You weren't playing the game to play the game. You played red to be a part of the game, and that's what Dockside did. That's why I agree with that. I don't agree. I agree with you on the not agreeing that everything should have been banned in one go. But I have two different groups that I play with. One power and one
Hmm.
casual. One gets the power, one gets straight jank. And the power side, some of our decks had one of those in their decks. Like some of them even had two in them. Like a friend of mine had Dockside and Mana Crypt in his deck because he was playing Chaos and Anger and just like all about being Circus of Pain,
Mm-hmm.
and he thinks he's incapable of playing that deck now because they're gone. I'm like, no, they're just mana accelerators. You can find differences. The Dockside, yes, but no. In that deck, it was a much better place for it to be because the power level wasn't as much there because it was more about like a group slug, playful. I want to do a big spell a bunch of times. Like I think his most real fun one recently was Scrambleverse 6 times because that's what he enjoys. But
Yeah.
that is where like Dockside is like I'm not going to be as upset with Dockside because he's looking to put it out once, do the really cool big thing once, or copy the spell 6 times because his commander says so.
But that's also where,
And
like, Rule Zero life comes in, because Commander, again, normally is casual, so that would be an
okay,
acceptance to it. But a lot of people are also very like, once it's banned, ban it forever, no one can play it, get rid of it.
I disagree with that. I don't think people should just be like up and all like, hey, we shouldn't do this. But
And I
on the
agree
whole
with you.
Rule Zero thing, whenever I'd play with you and you'd come in because you went away from Florida for a very long time,
Yeah.
and during that time when you came back, you were a different Magic player.
Mm-hmm.
When we said we were playing like sevens and eights, like we're like power casual, you brought like a 5 or a 6 thinking it was the same thing, and then you offset it by bringing out a 9 or a 10 thinking it was the change, but it wasn't the direction of which like the power levels was going to. I mean, we're going to talk later about the tier systems 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1, 2, 3, 4, like
Yeah.
how Wizards is going to be changing to, which I agree a little bit with, but we'll get on that later.
Mm-hmm. But no,
As for Mana Crypt and Jeweled Lotus, I think it was cruel of Wizards and the rules committee, and however, this whole situation. I think it's garbage and poor human behavior that people are going to be death threatening over cardboard. No offense. At the end of the day, the piles of card. I can open this up. I can show you my piece of cardboard that's useless now. My other piece of cardboard that's useless. Jeweled Lotus and Mana Crypt both just going to be sitting off to the side.
Yeah.
All because people were upset in the casual area that things wouldn't belong. Now, the Jeweled Lotus being a card that states, "Hey, I can only be used in Commander." Why'd you print it then? Why'd you print it at such a high level? Why couldn't it have just said 2 mana at 0 for the 1 ability? That I personally perceive to be a much more balanced thing. 0 for 2, but you get colored instead of colorless, like Soul Ring or Mana Crypt. And
So
your negative is you can only use it in Commander, but that's besides the point.
the big the big problem that everyone's having with Jeweled Lotus, aside from obviously, like you said, the death threat, people are like, "Oh, you ruined my career. I don't have billions of dollars in Jeweled Lotus." Ooh.
Correct.
Is they made the card literally in a set for Commander. They made the card usable pretty much only in Commander, and then they've just said, "No, this isn't allowed anymore." It's the equivalent of
That's
me making an engine for a car and saying this isn't allowed to be used in cars.
yeah, that's I agree. It's like,
The
oh hey,
last
I'm building this for this reason. Oh, it's illegal.
the last
Isn't
time they did this, ironically, was with one of their own commander decks that they built.
which one?
Zedru. Zedru came with Trade Secrets, a card
Oh yeah,
that
where it
literally
says,
was
"Hey,
amazing. Yeah,
oh, it was not banned when it came." I remember when the first set of commander decks came out, Kalia, Mimeo, all of them. You got Zedru, and we would do that. And when that specific card was played, you draw 2, then target opponent draws 2, and if they draw 2, you can draw 2 more, and you just keep going back and forth, and you just go forever. You
target
two would draw your deck, and
pay 1, 2 blue, sorcery. Target opponent draws 2 cards. Then you draw up to 4 cards. Target opponent may repeat this process as many times as he or she chooses. So,
yeah,
like, it's an
that's
amazing
a lot of
card.
draw.
It was printed only twice, and the second time was in a commander deck that they made for the commander people. And then all of a year later, they banned it.
Yeah, I
Because
remember that.
I don't even really
It
remember why.
Do you not remember? It's basically a consecrated sphinx for 2 people. That's what happened. The consecrated sphinx effect, where someone would draw a card, you would draw 2. Oh, can I keep it going? Oh, 2 people have consecrated sphinx. Draw 2, draw 4, draw 8, draw 16. You just keep going and going until you just draw out your whole deck, or one person says, "I've got enough cards. I don't want to draw anymore."
Yeah, but it's
And
helping the 2 players.
okay, yeah, maybe helping the 2 players, but how does a 4-player game become good if only 2 people are playing?
True.
And that's what that card said. Now, along with the Mana Crypt and the Jeweled Lotus and all those effects, it has the same effect, except less people are enjoying the game. That's basically what they're doing. It's we don't like that they did it all in one go. Like that's the cold part. Like
Yeah.
no ifs, ands, or buts about that. Like why would you do that? And then everyone going after the rules committee, Josh Lee Kwai, Kristen, I can't remember her last name, Olivia Goldberg Hicks. Like those guys are pinnacles in just trying to have fun and play games, and they got bullied so bad into just quitting. Like
Yeah, no, the one female literally left because she had people standing outside her house. A couple of the men left because, well, the death threats to their family kind of freaked them out, and it's over a card game. Yes, it's a lot
Yeah,
of
and
people's main way of income. It's a lot of people's main thing. But that doesn't equate to I'm going to now sentence you to death for it.
that's not cool human behavior. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter, male, female, black, white, any mix, LGBTQ, does not. That does not matter. That's just poor human behavior. It does not matter who you are. I'm I'm not cool with that. I just want to sit down and play a game of Magic, joke around, tell people they're gonna
It's
lose, even, and that's not even guaranteed me winning. I just like
yeah. It's
having that sort of
fun.
ego because it's
It's fun for like the power gamer perspective of I've got a jeweled lotus in my deck. Most people don't. I can show it off, and everyone's like, "This is awesome." It's not.
especially for the people who just pulled it out of packs. I
Yeah,
have some friends. When War of the Spark came out, he pulled a foil Liliana, and he
yeah.
just put it in his deck. And that's the only card that he actually has that's like a high level card in his stuff. And every time it came out, he got to do the coolest things. But that's because he pulled it, and not everybody's going
It's
to spend $100 on a card. Like, it got banned, and we're like 2-3 weeks out from the banning, and it's still $90 for
yeah.
a card you can't use like fully to its extent in any other format. Literally, it says out of your commander's colors, and it's banned in commander. Like,
Which
Wizards, seriously? You're gonna print something that specifically states, "Hey, I can only be used in commander," and we're gonna ban it. Drop that hammer.
yeah.
I just
It
was
doesn't
like,
make sense, and a lot of people were against it.
oh yeah, well, the Wizards have a lot to say about it, and one good thing is that the Wizards of the Coast and the Rules Committee, they all came to a conclusion together to try to help benefit all of
Do you have
Commander
one?
together. And that's what we're looking to talk about here, because we want to keep playing Commander. Now, personally, with me and my play group, I try to advocate for other cards. Like, you don't need Mana Crypt to win the game. You really don't. It's gonna
No,
accelerate you by like 0.03, 0.04%,
there's
and that is
also
only if you pull it.
you got Mana Vault to just replace it. Yeah, it costs one, but you get way
Absolutely,
more.
Mana Vault is absolutely awesome, especially in this format. You also have cards like Mox Opal, Mox. What's that new one that just came out? It had a retro artifact in there, Mox Amber.
Oh,
But
the
you mean you have to have your commander out for it
Metalcraft
to
or
get the
whatever.
legendary. No, it's
Oh, the
not Metalcraft.
legendary
It's
one.
yeah, it's a legendary. I mean, you also have
Yep,
Lotus Petal,
makes me
Urza
sad.
Saga, Mox Opal, Chrome Mox. You have all those cards to just be able to do it. Like, I even played Charcoal Diamond. It comes into play tapped and you produce a black mana, but that's a 2 mana artifact that produces you a color. That is almost as good as a Rampant Growth.
Do you
Because,
remember
I
the
mean, yeah,
ley
Rampant Growth, you
stones?
get a link. The what?
The stones from I think it was like Lara or something where they tap for 3 colors. Any of
One
the
of each,
three.
yes. Yeah, I remember those.
I still run those in some of my decks.
That's basically like a Darksteel ingot, but more specific, right?
Yeah,
Just and
I
you
think
get
it
one of three
costs the
colors.
same.
Yeah, it costs 3 mana. Like 3 mana artifacts, yeah, they've been outdated. You have talismans, you have arcane signet, you even have regular signets, and you have diamonds. Like I have charcoal diamond and what's the blue one? Sapphire medallion? No, sapphire medallion is the costs colorless less, and that's a 2-drop too, making
Yep.
your single colored spells that color like a colorless less. That is also a powerful effect that we as commander players can use. Like if you're playing mono red and commander, like you could
Mm-hmm.
be just playing Ral Monsoon Mage. Your instant and sorceries cost colorless less with his effect. You play the Rumi medallion. Now all of his red spells cost 2 colorless less, and that's basically just saying, hey, I'm ready to combo with less than a ham sandwich.
And what's crazy is those medallions now, I'm looking at them right now, are less than $2 each.
That's for the most recent, the Modern Horizons 3 printing.
No, all of them. The
Like
only
even
ones that are
from
above $2 are the full art ones from Modern Horizons 3.
what about the original? What about the original prints?
Sapphire medallions $4. Ruby's the only
From what set?
expensive one. Tempest.
Yeah, that's because Tempest. Yeah, that's like the 90s,
Yeah,
early
but still
2000s.
$12 compared to your 60 for your I tap for 2 mana card.
Well, Mana Crypt is still over $100 because it's played in Legacy and Vintage. That's just old. I don't know about Vintage, but I know Legacy. One of
Cruise.
the
Yeah.
there's multiple decks that play it because it's two colorless and there's a lot of artifacts to play in Legacy. I'm not a Legacy person. I can't state anything more
But
than
it
that. I just
proves the
wanted.
point
I did
all
research
that much
beforehand
more.
to see. I was trying to do research to see what these things are played in, and Jeweled Lotus is it just says Commander, 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 Commander. While at least Mana Crypt said like Legacy, Vintage, and other possible options. We're going forward. The things that we need that we're looking to address is they're looking to establish an actual committee. The Wizards are actually establishing a committee, like 10 to 20 people, to help design Commander and have that rules Commander committee. And there are also 10 Commander designers in Wizards of the Coast. So like we're instead of a 5-person group, it's going to be 10 to 20, and it's not guaranteed that half of the people of this committee are part of Wizards of the Coast. Like about half the people. I mean, they're going to have a big stake into what says, but it's still a casual driven format. And ever since the Jeweled Lotus and Mana Crypt got banned, what are other cards like we really say that say ugh when they come out outside of like normal cards like Vorinclex or a Dictate of Erebos?
Are you basically asking, like, what cards would anybody want to be like, that needs to be banned?
Yeah, like people keep saying
Um,
Soul Ring, but Soul
well,
Ring's a pre-con all-star, and you can just go get one for like $1. Not
yeah.
even. There are some less than $1
And
because
it slides
it's
into every deck.
now that same defense can be made for Mana Crypt and Jeweled Lotus,
True,
but
but Jeweled Lotus is 3 of a color, so your, like, 5
yeah,
color decks don't really care for one color, normally.
yeah. Well, other things that happened with the rules committee and Wizards of the Coast talking to us, they're going to be doing the best to make things last forever, and I like that because over the past decade, I genuinely don't think I'd be as far as I am today playing Magic and like the things that I have if it weren't for Magic. I bought a house. I've bought multiple vehicles, just selling Magic cards. I've gotten myself out of several pickles.
Yeah.
I've had to pay last second bills.
I've had to
Like if
ride on a skateboard pulled by a rope on a bike.
we loved those F&M days,
Oh,
those
yeah.
were that was the time of our life. And it was like if it wasn't for moments like that, I wouldn't be enjoying Magic at the level that I do now because we used to stay up all night playing, literally all night. Sun would rise, ride our bikes back to the house, go back to our LGS to do this exact same thing. So
The
us
next day.
hoping that Wizards continue to allow us to play at this level and this much and have this much fun, I'm all for it.
Oh, yeah.
Um, Now, something I really do agree with them is they're not looking to have a ban list happen possibly every week. It was very rare that happened. Like the last time we got a ban was like what Felidar Guardian, but that was in Standard. That wasn't in Commander. Before this, our last like Commander ban, like real Commander ban, wasn't that Lutri Spellchaser the thorn into the ban because it said, "Hey, I'm capable of being used in every deck that's blue and red."
I'm actually looking it up now, but I think you're
It's the
right.
it's the companion Reverberate.
It looks like you are correct. And
That
then,
was the last like real banning, but we didn't even really get to notice what Lutri Spellchaser did. It's just that if you played blue and red and you didn't have a companion, you put this in your deck because you spent 3 mana to put it in your hand, and now you have a Reverberate or another Dualcaster Mage for your combo. And like that's a genuinely good ban right there because it's like, all right, am I playing these colors? All right, I just need to go get one. So owning like 90 Lutri Spell Chasers for the 100 decks that you have because you just so happen to be playing those two colors because they're just so good.
hmm,
That's what it was. But now we're only going to be going to a quarterly ban where it's going to happen once every 3 months, once every 4 months, 3 to 4 months. That's what it sounds like, and it's not going. I really hope they don't screw us like this again. Like the next quarterly ban, they're just like bomb, 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 bomb. Like this, we're not. Like this isn't.
No, it's not meant to be an every like other month. Let's ban stuff.
Yeah, that'd be cold. Like we are trying
But
to enjoy the game. Product is coming out too fast for us to properly see everything. And so people like us who've been playing for a long time where you can say the name of a card and we can just tell you it from the top to bottom. It's not as prominent anymore because there's just so much coming. But I
the
mean that's also the not banning for every 3 months, that's going to help with the bannings and us being able to see the cards to help establish like power level and other possible things to show like where people are at.
my concern is simply this: they're going to try to
Yeah,
make Commander balanced again, and I appreciate that. They already said that they're not looking to
big time.
ban anything right away, but with how often they're releasing cards and how quickly it's all coming out,
Hmm.
how are they going to keep it from being like, if you don't play the newest cards, you don't play the game? Because like our old
Uh,
combos that we used to see back in the day, the Sanguine Bond and Exquisite
Exquisite
Blood
Blood.
stuff, we don't
Oh
see
yeah,
because
that's.
there's now faster versions of it almost.
I don't
Oracle
think
and all
there's.
that.
Well, there's only the Thoracle Demonic Consultation. That's a completely different combo on itself. That is like with the whole power level thing. We're going to be talking about tiers and tiers like 1 through 4. Number 4, that's Thoracle Demonic Consultation. That says, hey, I win the game if you have no response to these things. I mean, yes, there is the same thing with Exquisite Blood and Sanguine Bond, but Exquisite Blood says whenever an opponent loses life, you gain that much life, and Sanguine Bond says whenever you gain life, you target opponent loses that much life. So you make someone you third stipulation, make someone lose something or you gain something, and boom, everyone's dead. But that's only the two cards. Now, like in the same aspect, the cards that are in the tier 3 combos, you're looking at like Mikaeus, the Unhallowed, and Triskelion. You got the ping 1 to someone, ping 2 to itself to kill itself because of the 1/1+1/1 and Undying.
Mm-hmm.
Or you're looking at like Kiki Jiki and Zealous Conscripts. That's another just 2 card, but you still have to swing because I mean, yeah, you have an infinite amount of 3/3s with haste, but that's definitely a way to close a game. That's definitely a way to completely end out someone. But then again, there's that third stipulation, not just you do the 2 things and win the game.
I'm actually, so I found an article here, funnily enough, that's
Yeah.
what Commander players can learn from Conquest, which is, I think it was like some Commander variant that came out that I never got into.
Okay.
But it's basically going over why the original rules committee, prior to the obvious recent stuff, banned certain cards like Panoptic Mirror because,
You put a
gross.
extra turn spell underneath it, and you just take
Or
infinite turns.
silence, or insert another card that just says, I play the game, you don't. Like, there's so
Yeah.
much that you can just do with it easily that it no longer becomes fun. Wish cards, because gross. The
Well, I mean,
ability.
well, you in Commander, you only are legally allowed to go through your sideboard, and if you do use a wish card, you have to have a sideboard with it, which is the same as like any other format, which is 15 cards. But
Yeah,
what are the chances you actually have that? Also, don't wish cards get you things from outside of the game? That would be also be exile, right?
kind of, yeah.
Yeah, so that's what a wish card does. That's us or whatnot. But like as for like the commander power brackets, like I'm looking at them right now. It says
Mm-hmm.
number 4 is your high power. That's going to be your Armageddon. That's going to be your Vampiric Tutor. Like all of the cards that say, "Hey, I'm going to be doing the thing." Mind over matter.
Land
That's where I'm
mass,
at in
land
that curve.
destruction. It's
That's I'm going to tell you right now. A 1-drop instant takes care of an Armageddon. If you don't have the 1 mana to take care of it, like that's easy. I mean,
all.
granted, now, hold on. Before you say that exact defense for Mana Crypt and Jeweled Lotus, if you don't have a Force of Negation, Force of Will, the things that say, I'm free,
Mm-hmm.
you can't just counter one of those mana rocks that we talked about earlier. It just doesn't happen.
As a
That's
man
why
that has had his fetch lands stifled too many times, I understand.
I've been there. Oh, I've been there. But
That
it's one
hurts.
mana. Oh yeah, it does. I've had one of my Haros, in addition to cast sack a land, I've had one
Yep.
of those counterspelled before. So like it's just like everyone's got to live through it once. But like, so I'm looking at the power bracket. And like your tier 3, you're gonna have like your tutors, not like your great tutors: vampiric, demonic, imperial seal, gamble. I mean, I don't think gamble's in the 4. I think gamble's in the
I
3.
I have questions with that.
Like what?
Are they going to go and list every single card in those tiers?
That's a lot of magic cards.
That is a lot of
That is
magic.
a lot. Yeah,
But
okay, but like,
if they
so I'm
don't,
looking at one of.
think of the repercussions. At any point, I'll sit down at a table and play Bibblethiped, and they'll be like, "That's a level 4 card, definitely." That's not allowed in our level 2 commander games.
Okay, they have spoken about that at the pile, and
Mm-hmm.
it's allowed to help for the easy turn 0. So let's go with the example. Yo guys, I'm playing a tier 2 deck,
Mm-hmm.
but it has one infinite attack phase combo in it. Are you guys cool with that? That is
Sure.
Niv Mizzet Reborn, where you reveal the top 10. You get to choose 2-color combo cards and put them in your hand. I run Aurelia and Brago. Never gotten the combo off. Played it a bunch of times, but that's not a powerful deck. All of the lands, if it produces 2 colors, it's either taps for colorless, and I have to pay into it to produce something like a pain land. Not a pain land. A buddy land? No. Filter land. Like a filter land, or it's a tri land. Not the triome. It's the ones beforehand, like Sandstep Citadel, Savage Lands, Mystic Monastery. I have all those in there. But then I play that one combo, the Aurelia and the Brago, and people go like, "This least powerful deck," and I'm like, "How long did it take me to get here? It's turn 9, and I finally got it. It's turn 9, man. What do you expect from me? Like,
Oh,
I'm
I
not
get
looking
that.
for the world from you. I'm just trying to. It's trying to get a good balance from what they want and what they want now. Now, see, I think this might help out a, a little bit, but I don't think it's going to help out a lot. Because it says in the Power 3 right now they have Personal Tutor and Draenith Magistrate. Personal Tutor is a card that tutors for something specific, while Draenith Magistrate just slows a certain area of the game down. While Armageddon, a tier 4 card, just takes care of everything. Like, it doesn't matter whose it is, it's just taking care of it. The Draenith Magistrate only takes care of your opponent's stuff and can't cast spells from anywhere other than their hand, so you just can't cast your commander at that point in time. That's it. So, like, like, I'm starting to see the difference between the 4s and the 3s. Like, 2, you have Fabricate, which is going to get a 3-cost sorcery artifact that puts an artifact from your deck into your hand. Like, that's pretty good, but that's also tutoring up for more than 1 mana, unlike your other tutors like Enlightened Tutor and Vamp Tutor, Sylvan Tutor,
What's
stuff like
what's
that.
the other fabricate where it's like sacrifice an artifact and then get one from your library to put it into play?
I'm pretty sure that card is banned.
I think you're right.
Um,
I can actually quickly check that. I have the banned cards right here.
yeah, so like,
It should be like. I don't think it actually is. Tinker,
trade,
maybe?
not trade secrets. I'm looking at them right now, but Gifts Ungiven is banned.
Yep, it's Tinker.
Yeah,
Because it's
that card's
pixelated from the
hardcore banned
gold card.
because you sacrifice your Tree of Tales, your green artifact land, and you put out a Blightsteel for it for 1 mana. You just go bleep, or 2, or however much a Tinker
3.
is. Tinker's 3.
Yep.
3 mana for a Blightsteel out. You can easily do that turn 1 in Commander. What's a turn 1 Blightsteel going to do? That just wins the game, unless someone's exiling it with Path or Swords.
Oh, yeah.
But like, other cards that are in like the Power 2 bracket, you can also like Thalia, Garden of Thraben. It just makes non-creature spells cost colorless more. It's like slightly annoying.
You said
It's not
Thalia?
super powerful. Guardian of Thraben, the one
Okay.
from Dark Ascension.
Yep.
Non-creature spells cost colorless less. First strike, 2/1.
Yeah, I have her in Legends. She's wonderful.
Yeah, it's because most of your cards are creatures and they synergize well together. But this only makes non-creature spells cost colorless more. It's just slowly irritating.
Where you can
While
compare
it's
that to Saint Augustine.
Saint Augustine the Fourth, he's
Yep.
going to be at least a tier 3. Tier 3. I wouldn't say necessarily tier 4 because if you're playing blue white and CEDH, it's very unlikely you're playing Grand Arbiter. Like, yeah, I could probably see it maybe a little bit more now than previous because you don't have that Jewel Lotus and Mana Crypt to help speed him out, or you don't have that much speeding out, so things coming out as fast, so it's not as much of a fast-paced game as it was
Why can I
previously.
not spell his name?
Who?
Augustine?
Augustine.
Stine. Oh, there he is. I'm just derp.
Yeah, he is a legendary creature
Oh, it's not
2/4.
Saint. That's why. It's
Grand Arbiter
Arbiter.
Augustine the Fourth.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know where you got the Saint from.
I don't know either.
Yeah,
Yeah.
your blue spells cost a colorless less. Your white spells cost a colorless less, and all of your opponent's stuff costs a colorless more.
Mhm.
He's awesome. Like,
Oh,
he's a
yeah.
control card. You don't want to be on the other side of him. Nobody likes playing against him.
Nope.
But like, I'd put him at like a tier 3 card because he's got the stigma against him. He makes all of your opponent's stuff cost all of it, not just like Thalia, Guardian of Thraben, where it just has non-creature spells. It just has spells. Instant, sorcery, artifact, enchantment, it don't matter. You're casting something, it's a colorless more with an opponent having a Grand Arbiter. While all of his stuff costs a colorless, and if he's playing a blue-white spell, that's 2 colorless less. You want to know what a Teferi for 2 mana is? It's in that deck.
I mean,
But like
even just going down like top commanders, it's easy to see where they would be bracketed, and it's nice to think of that.
let's name off a few. I want to give my idea of where those creatures would be in the bracket.
All right, number 1, Atraxa.
Atraxa, that's a 4. Easy. She proliferates your poison counters. She proliferates planeswalkers. She proliferates your 1/1 counters. She proliferates your opponent's -1/-1 counters. And not only that, she's also big, swole, flying, and lifelink. It's
And
really
for
difficult to get
4,
past her. Yeah, I mean, it's 4 hard mana. That's
but it's
4
still,
different hard mana, too.
we can easily get that colors between rocks and dual lands. Any form of a dual land.
Okay, I get that, but it's still that's a 4.
Yeah, that's still a 4.
Like,
Same with the Dragon.
If it's worst, it's a 3.5. No, the Ur Dragon, 3 to 3.5. My
Really?
reasoning for this is because it can only do well with dragons. You can use other cards for it to be decent, but it's nowhere near going to be as good without dragons.
Well,
Like, if you can build me an Ur Dragon deck that beats an Ur Dragon deck with dragons opposed to one without, I'm pretty sure the Ur Dragon with dragons is going to completely obliterate and stomp out the other one without much of a, like, I'm good.
Yeah.
That's what the Ur Dragon says in my eyes.
Yuriko
Who's next?
3.
I'd put Yuriko at a 3. She has the possibility of being a 4 because she's using CEDH a lot because of her small, low tactics, but all of the creatures are small and low. They're pretty easy to take care of. Yuriko by herself of 3, it can be easily turned into a 4, in my eyes. It's not just guaranteed a 4 off rip.
You and I will disagree on it. Kenrith is a 3. I absolutely hate him. Anytime I saw him at a CDH table, I immediately left.
He's a 4. Not a 3. He's a 4. Kenrith, you can try to defend him all you want. He is, hey, I'm 5 colors, I do all of the things, and you want to play me. If you don't have an answer to your 5-color deck, put Kenrith as the helm. You'll be set.
I enjoy the next 2, ironically, because they're next to each other. Lathril, Blade of the Elves.
Oh, Black Green Elves, Lathril?
Yep. Create
If
that many
he's a
1/1s.
3, if he is a 3, all of the other elf commanders are like a 2, 2.5. But
Yeah.
if there's an elf commander that is a 3, I'm putting him at like a 3.5 because he has that extra ability that makes all of your elves do so much extra to your opponents.
Tap him and tap 10 elves. Elves you control. Oh, tap. Sorry. Brain broke. Tap her. Tap 10 untapped elves you control. Each opponent loses 10 life. You gain 10 life.
Yeah,
It is
absurd.
gross.
That sounds like almost like a Gary in your command zone. All right, I'm going to activate this ability. I'm going to gain a bunch of life, and you're going to lose a bunch of life. Whoopee!
I mean,
That'd be a 3.
yeah.
It requires you to have a lot of creatures out. It requires you to have a lot. Like
But
3 is going to
elves.
be your
The only thing that shits out creatures faster than elves is ironically the next one.
Franco mob boss.
Yep. 4.
Uh,
With all the help and
I
support he's
now
gotten recently, it is so much worse.
I have an irrational hatred for goblins. He has his own number of 0 where he belongs. That's just 0. But if I had to put him to a number, because Krenko is such a, I can't disagree. Krenko is an excellent goblin card. Krenko, I is the reason I don't like goblins because you guys
It's
produce more than rabbits.
yeah,
But
it's
I'd put
easy.
Krenko 3.5.
Cranko is like the
3,
little
hold on.
brother deck.
3 budget. 3 is budget. 4 is money put in.
Yeah, Cranko's the little deck that you hand to your new friend that's so sad that they can't win games. Because they most likely will
And
without thinking.
yeah, you just I'm gonna put this goblin out. So are you sure that's the goblin you want to put out? I just gotta put I'm just gonna put out goblins. I'm gonna gobble it up.
Your last
That's
4 for your top 10, by the way. Real
yeah, let's speed
easies.
through these ones.
Miriam.
Miriam the dragon, 3.
Yep. Edgar?
Markov, 4.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, if I'm gonna Edgar
Yeah.
Markov's a 4, I put Miriam at like a 3.5. 3.
I'd keep him at a 3 because he's annoying, but it takes a while for him to actually go.
Yeah, okay. I agree with that. We'll put Miriam at a 3.
Ishin. I've never actually fought an Ishin, so I have no idea.
I've tried to build an Ishin deck, but as someone who's a combo player, I didn't really understand the whole being aggro. Like I tried to do the thing, but have too much interaction, have too many other things. I didn't produce him well. But anytime I've seen an Ishin, and as soon as Ishin hits the field, if you don't have like over 30 health at this point in time, you're either dead or next to dead at this point in time. And so at that point, I'll put Ishin at a 3. But
Okay.
like when I built him, it was like a 1.52, but that's because I didn't build him the way he deserved to be built.
Fair. And of course, my favorite girl, Kalia. I say 3.
I built an EDH, yes, easily a 3. You put out a Master of Cruelties, Avacyn Angel of Hope, easy 3.
It's not
With
a
the
4
Jeweled Lotus
because
and
of,
Mana Crypt,
it's not a
with
4
those taken
because of
away,
how easy she is to deal with.
she's a 2/2 on the floor. Of course she's easy.
She's flying.
Oh, she was flying. She's a 2/2 in the air.
Yeah.
That's
Even
it.
easier.
That's it. Yeah, you Sword Splasher, Path to Exile, Pongify.
She has to swing for her to even remotely do anything.
Ooh,
Scary.
here's another one I just thought of. It's more recent. Cut
Oh.
Down. She's got less than 5 power and toughness.
Cut down?
Yeah, it's a 1-drop.
Oh, yeah. No, that's
Destroy
better.
target creature with total power toughness 5 or less.
Yeah. Just 1 black. Go away.
That's hold on. So we have mono white. We got swords or path. You have Pongify for blue. You have lightning bolt for red. You have cut down for black. What do we got for green in 1 mana that can get rid of a 2/2?
Literally any of the shoot downs.
Yeah, destroy target creature with flying. Boom. That's 1/2 mana to take care of that flyer.
Or
3.
you can
I wouldn't
exile
put her at a
her.
4.
It's at sorcery, but
I mean, that's still 1 or 2 mana getting rid of a 4-drop 2/2 flyer that says, hey, I'm probably losing the game after she swings.
it even exiles her. So if it's
Yeah,
not a commander
big fan.
somehow, go away.
Kind of a big fan of that. So all this happening, where
I
the
do have an interesting question for you, since I have it
Ooh,
up
what is it?
anyways. If they were
Go
to
ahead.
start doing unbanning of the list, are there any cards you feel like deserve to be off that list now?
Oh, because of like Dockside and
Like, if they choose to remake the list basically and take cards off of it, are there any on there that you think deserve to be back now that our power level has synced up to them almost?
Well, so there's a lot of cards here that
There's a lot that I can agree that shouldn't be back ever, but there's a couple I can personally see that I'm like, bring it back. We can deal with it.
like give me an idea.
Iona. She destroys single colored decks, but now that we're going to have the tier system, we can just shove her out of 3 and be like, alright, if you bring her, we're all bringing our tier 3 decks that are just going to murder
I'm
you.
pretty sure for being banned, she is a thing.
Bubbles back.
Okay.
She's your commander that can easily be just ruining the game. Like a lot of these things, I have to agree with.
A lot of them I agree with
Like
too.
recurring nightmare. That's something I could see being returned because you can only do its effect during your turn at sorcery speed. You can't just instantly, oh, I'm gonna do this.
Oh, they even get.
But like a lot of these,
Hey, I have the
well,
reason they did it.
go ahead.
For your
I'm
recurring
pretty sure
nightmare.
is why.
Outside of counter magic, it's nearly impossible to stop this card from doing its thing once it gets going, because returning it to its owner's hand is part of the cost of activating its ability. If your graveyard is sufficiently stocked, it's entirely possible that once you draw Recurring Nightmare, it's the only spell you'll want to play for the rest of the game.
Yeah, that's basically what I'd be doing. I'd put awesome things in my graveyard, and then I'd bring them back for whatever reason, maybe to flip over Grist to the new one from Modern Horizons 3, or, before the banning of Dockside, I could probably, that's infinite mana with Dockside. Actually, that's now coming to my mind.
Could we
There's enough
get
artifact.
Profit back, please?
No.
Please?
Profit was banned for a good reason. We were there when it came out, and I remember sitting next to you every week hearing about how much it sucks to play against Profit, and you wanted to change to a green-blue deck because of Profit of Prufix.
And I did.
And then, oh yeah, you remember all like 2 or 3 games you got to play with it? That was it. For a good reason.
Same with Paradox Engine. While Legends would
Paradox
love to
Engine
have it,
was rightfully banned as well.
Legends would love to have it. It definitely shouldn't ever be unbanned.
Yeah, well, seeing as we've been talking about the brackets, Wizards is hoping to have all of that out before MagicCon said Vegas, they said?
Oh? That's ambitious.
Yeah. Before MagicCon Las Vegas. And, like, they're not tied to 4 brackets. There may be a 5th one specifically for CEDH. Which I still personally believe Mana Crypt and Jewel Lotus should be legal in CEDH. But, as I stated beforehand, CEDH is just Commander with a little extra rules, basically saying, hey, I do what I want. Like, the Thoracle combo is a bracket 4. They were saying this earlier.
Mm-hmm.
But, like,
can we get
one thing
Golos?
that's really... Golos, 7 mana, do whatever you want. You put out... What's that elemental taps? Makes anything you tap for 3 times the amount. It doesn't matter if it's lands.
I know what you're talking
yeah,
about.
Yes, 4 colorless, 3 green for an awesome card. You produce way too much mana, and then you just get a bunch of free permanents instead of actually casting your spells. I can see the justified ban. I think Golos should have just been banned as a commander at first to see if he's welcome in the 99. But then again, with that same thought process, you go tutor him up for whatever reason. He's got an ETB effect that's a better sad robot, solemn symbolism. Enters, you go get any land from your deck. Most of the time, I mean, I used him as my commander for promos, just all promos in the deck, and I just go get the last land that I need to fix to get all 5 colors, and then I can just do what I want. It didn't matter what my opening lands were, as long as I had 4 or 5 and a ramp spell, and I could get the last color or last 2 colors I could with Golos. That was the reason I played him.
Fair enough.
He was so good, and so deserved the ban. Just like Nadu, just like Dockside. I think they deserve a ban. I don't think they deserved the ban as hard as they did. But with all this, there's been a lot happening in the Magic community.
Yeah. We talked about it before off of here, but bringing back the idea of just the commander list to where it's like, you can't have these as a commander, but they can be in the 99. I wish we could do that again.
We do. There's only like what 4 creatures banned as commanders. That's the
There
Black
are
Braids.
8
Banned as commander,
There
or
are-
banned in general.
banned in general that used to just be banned as commander.
Well, I remember Raphelos being one of those
Raphelos?
creatures that are just. Raphelos is one of them. Braids, Black Braids, Areo, Soratomi Ascendant, and
Areo was banned, period. Black Braids was simply banned as a commander for a while.
that's you read its effect, you understand why.
Oh, no, I agree with that. Raphelos was also only banned as a commander for a while.
That's because you say, hey, I'm going to tap way too much green mana from having way too many elves, and then you just produce more elves.
Yeah,
Then you have cards that just, you tap 3 elves, untap another elf.
but I would agree with the idea of letting him back as a part of the 99, because then it's dealable, it's exilable, it's go away forever.
I don't know. How good are
What's up?
you with the turn 2 braids?
Oh no, Raphelos. Not Braids. Braids, I agree, should just be away from the world. That can stay over in Modern and all that.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, if Raphelos was not banned in the 99, I have a Ghidorah combo deck that
Mhm.
I think I've only ever won a game once where I didn't have every single basic land out. So if I'm tapping for 36 green with Raphelos, I feel like, hey, that's awesome. Big fan. I don't think many people are coming back from that.
I suppose it's fair. And getting the system, we'll see how they do with this tiering and go from there. Until then, I'm just
Yeah.
not going to hold my breath.
Yeah, I'm not going to hold my breath on what's going on. I'm going to continue to enjoy the game. It sounds like you're going to continue to enjoy the game.
Always.
These bans and what Wizards has to say for us, like, I'm looking forward to a lot of things.
The worst
I
case
gotta figure
scenario is much like with D&D, you let your play group decide whether it's allowed to be played. Andrew and I still
can see
play with
games.
the kid that plays with the silver bordered transformer because he runs a transformer deck.
That's because that sounds cool. So, I don't have anything else to say about Wizards of the Coast and how things are going. I think I've stated my part. How do you feel about yours?
I've said what I want to say about it. Like I said, I'm just going to wait to see how it goes and hope for the best.
Okay. Well, I'm Jacob, your PowerJank player. I've had a wonderful time today. Cody?
It was a pleasure to speak about this for all of you, and I hope you all enjoyed and maybe gained some
Alright.
information you didn't have.
We'll see you again next week. Have some good things to talk about.
See you later.
Good night. Thank you for joining us on our first episode. If you liked what you heard and would like to hear more from us, please like, follow, and subscribe.
Until next week, toodles!